Camp is camp. It's tough, but it's for me to want to push myself. This is what I do, this is what I live for. I'm ready for battle. I feel like I'm getting stronger, and I feel by the time the fight comes, I'll be at peak performance. One more. One more.
Beautiful. That's what we've got to bring him on to. There's nobody can take that.
Unbelievable how far and how wide sports can take you and the things that you get access to.
Anthony Joshua has officially kicked off his first day of training camp ahead of his December 19th showdown with Jake Paul. With the fight now confirmed, Joshua is diving straight into preparation, entering camp with sharp focus, iron discipline, and the confidence of a former heavyweight champion. Meanwhile, Jake Paul, despite his controversial rise from YouTube star to boxer, continues to draw massive attention. But this time, he's stepping in against a seasoned, dangerous veteran with true world-class experience.
Vegas, second leg of the training camp. I'm feeling energized, I'm feeling refreshed. So yeah, come inside, have a look what's going on. Tough training, tough lifestyle, rough and tough. But listen, how else would I want it? I love it. So what am I bringing differently? I won't say a new mindset, but definitely like a new perspective. But ultimately, everything new has to lead to a win. So yeah, that's what I'm focused on right now, just winning. With training camp, it's grueling, like there's no doubt about that. But you just need to have a clear mind, and be optimistic, and run towards challenges every day. And that's how I'm able to get through, is just the perspective I have on what suffering looks like. There's a certain standard that one has to have if they want to achieve certain things. I am working past efforts, measures that I set out for myself. Yes, it's tough. Yes, I'm tired.
Mike Koa reported that Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is officially set for December 2025 in Miami, streaming on Netflix as a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight showdown.
You mentioned earlier that Anthony Joshua still didn't have an opponent for his next fight, but he was thinking of still fighting before the end of the year. And we've got some breaking news for you now, because we're hearing that AJ is in talks with Jake Paul over a deal for a heavyweight fight in Miami next month. Of course, the YouTuber Paul has already fought the former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson, and beaten him. And he's now in talks with Anthony Joshua with a view to the two of them fighting in Miami.
Eddie Hearn pushed back on the claims but still confirmed the fight, clarifying that it will take place under full Queensberry rules, not as an exhibition. He ruled out any modified terms, no oversized gloves or shortened rounds, stating they'll use 10-ounce competition gloves, standard rounds, and the complete professional boxing framework.
Telling Ring Magazine, Anthony Joshua, your man, and Jake Paul are finalising a deal for a December heavyweight fight in Florida. True or false?
I mean, the gun was jumped a little bit and fired early. There have been conversations. For us, we were flirting with the idea of having this little 8-round fight this year. Not with Jake Paul, by the way, because he was fighting Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, that's no.
But we were going to go on a other card somewhere. You wouldn't have really heard of the person we were going to fight. But AJ wanted to go through the motions, wrap the hands, and just gear up to what is really in the works with Turki Al-Sheikh, which is 2 fights in 2026, and that includes Tyson Fury. That's the plan for Turki Al-Sheikh. We received a phone call from Nikita Baldirian from MVP, who, by the way, we've spoke to a few months before talking to us about the fight, and he said, look, would you want to fight Jake Paul? And I said, listen, I don't want to just be a publicity muppet for you, you know, telling everybody that you offered the fight to Anthony Joshua. If you're serious, we can discuss the numbers, and if there's a chance for us to run out in December and, you know, take care of this bloke and get him out of the boxing world and make several tens of millions in the process, of course, we will consider it. And that's basically where we are at now.
And do the numbers stack up?
Of course, I mean, like, you know, it's difficult to have this conversation. I think sometimes you just need...
He told Sky Sports they have zero interest in exhibitions. If Jake Paul wants the fight, it must be a real contest at an agreed weight. However, Hearn also warned the deal isn't finalized yet. He put the chances at 50-50, noting that plenty of discussions and details still need to be worked out.
Extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I've got the general feedback is the boxing world saying, please AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua. I think that's the only reason we're going to see this fight, but I truly believe you're going to see.
Hearn said Paul is bold, if not crazy, enough to chase the fight, despite Joshua being a true heavyweight monster, and acknowledged the massive payday awaiting both sides. Still, he stressed the dangerous reality of pairing an inexperienced Paul against a seasoned AJ, warning it's a catastrophic mismatch that could end Paul's career, whether literally or figuratively.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua 50-50 fight, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh, well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world.
However, Hearn admitted Paul's strategy is targeting pro boxers who guarantee massive paydays.
Just quickly, I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions, he's putting the hard spars in. He just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight. But they're very clever in terms of the opponents they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. No. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah.
Simon Jordan, despite his usual criticism, admitted that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul matchup could actually benefit boxing in certain ways. He acknowledged that the fight will draw massive global attention, attract millions of new viewers, and create major financial opportunities for everyone involved. Jordan emphasized that boxing is also a business, and pairing a former heavyweight champion with one of the world's biggest digital entertainers guarantees huge money, media coverage, and mainstream interest. He believes the spectacle will captivate casual fans, fuel headlines, and drive heated debates, which ultimately help keep the sport relevant. Although he still questions the fight's competitive legitimacy, he recognizes that commercially and financially, this event could be a significant win for boxing.
This is the entertainment business, and Anthony Joshua is an entertainer, and you can't undo the fact that he won the World Heavyweight Championship twice. And he fought in some great fights.
So why does he need this?
Because he's in the business of entertainment. And if an opportunity is presented to him and someone wants to say that we can monetize this to the huge levels that are potentially available, why wouldn't you? It's a walk in the park.
You see, you're not having Saturday night.
Because
many people wouldn't have this.
I'm not having.
Because this isn't a proper fight where a Saturday night is.
But I don't think this is a proper. I don't think that I would ever consider having a debate about whether Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is a proper fight between two bona fide champions. I think Jake Paul is someone that's creating a lot of opportunity for himself and using sport as the anchor for it. And would I watch it? No. And do I value it? No. But when I'm asked to be confronted with a fight between two legends' sons and then get involved in all of the nonsense.
Simon Jordan also took aim at the Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. fight, arguing that the entire promotion leaned more on nostalgia than genuine sporting merit. He said the matchup was sold on the legacy of their fathers' iconic 1990s rivalry, rather than on what either fighter had accomplished individually. Jordan criticized promoters for weaponizing history to disguise a fight that made little competitive sense, especially with Ben moving up in weight and Eubank Jr. dangerously cutting down. Jordan drew a parallel to Joshua versus Paul, calling it another blatant cash grab rather than a meaningful contest. He labeled it a mismatch between a former heavyweight champion and a social media star, warning that it undermines the integrity of the sport. He questioned whether such a bout should even be sanctioned, expressing concern for Paul's physical safety and cautioning that Joshua risks long-term damage to his legacy by entertaining this kind of spectacle.
Merits the kind of returns that they're going to get for the level that they've operated in their careers, and that's one of my issues around the Conor Ben Eubank fight. This fight over here with Anthony Joshua, I know what this is. No one can dress this up. This is a turd that will get polished into a huge pile of money. And if you know that from the outset,
Yeah.
so I don't have any illusions about it. Neither does anybody else. Nobody thinks that this is a real fight. Nobody thought. I mean, Spencer tried his very level best, and will never try it again, to convince us that Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Well, this is something similar
Yeah.
for different reasons. Anthony Joshua is still a live heavyweight, and
Yeah.
if he hits Jake Paul's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And some people might think that's a good thing to happen to him, to learn his lesson. But he's also now fighting. He's got a fighter's license, and the question should be along the lines of what Chris Eubank Sr. was raising. Is it right? Is this appropriate that a high-performing supreme athlete like Anthony Joshua, whose only real challenges now are probably in his mind, because physically he can operate at the highest level if he still chose to, should be stepping in against someone like Jake Paul that does not have the skill set to deal with the kind of power and expertise that Anthony Joshua has? And should boxing be sanctioning this? This is the bigger question.
Oh, that's true. That is true. Having said all that, Netflix tell us 60 million households worldwide tuned in live to see Mike Tyson take on Jake Paul. Why would Jake Paul end up fighting?
Adding to the growing buzz, boxing legend Roy Jones offered a surprisingly cautious take on the Joshua versus Jake Paul matchup, insisting the fight must make genuine sense for Joshua, both in competitive terms and in financial reward.
It's just a little bit here, and Anthony Joshua, there's rumours circulating he could be fighting Jake Paul next. One, do you think it's good for boxing, and two, do you think the fight will happen?
I think it's great for boxing. I think the fight will happen. AJ is one of those against these guys that come in to these boxing careers late. So why not? He's the perfect guy to take him out too. He took Ngannou out. Why would he not take Jake Paul out? And for him, he probably make more money fighting Jake Paul than he will fight anybody else that he can fight right now. So why would he not do? I mean, not that he needs money right now anyway, but if he's gonna do something, if he want to get a good win to put him back on the scene, that's my preference.
Dave Farrar and Spencer Oliver weighed in on the rapidly growing debate surrounding a potential Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight. The speculation intensified after Saudi boxing supremo Turki Al-Sheikh hinted during a TalkSport appearance at Wembley that he was ready to greenlight the matchup. Al-Sheikh confirmed Paul had verbally agreed and said he wants Joshua to dismantle him in a 99-1 style mismatch, framing it as a win-win test of legitimacy for both men.
Does he really want to smoke? I mean, he's got to be an idiot if he does, because Anthony Joshua, let's use this as a comparison. Francis Ngannou called Anthony Joshua out after pushing Tyson Fury the way that he did, and you looked at that and he went in there and he iced him in 2 rounds. Francis Ngannou versus Jake Paul, you got to go heavily on Francis Ngannou, haven't you? So what's going to happen to poor Jake Paul if he boxes Anthony Joshua, this Olympic gold?
Mike Kopinger has voiced serious concerns over the proposed Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight, suggesting that Paul seems motivated more by the massive payday than by genuine sporting legitimacy. He reported that while negotiations are actively underway, significant obstacles remain, including broadcast agreements and official sanctioning. Kopinger highlighted the vast difference in size, power, and elite-level experience between Joshua and anyone Paul has previously faced, making the bout potentially very dangerous. He acknowledged that the commercial appeal could push the fight forward, but warned it raises critical questions about Paul's safety, his credibility as a boxer, and the overall integrity of the event itself.
It's a breaking story on Ring Magazine. Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul are finalising a deal for a heavyweight fight on Netflix in December in Miami. Sources tell the Ring Magazine's Mike Coppinger. What do you make of that?
Well,
Anthony Joshua was talking about wanting warm-up fights before going into bigger fights, but look, it's prize fighting at the end of the day. The way that Joshua will see it and Matchroom and all the team, the fans won't like this, by the way.
I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either. But the way that Joshua will see it is as a money grab. He'll see it as an easy money grab. But at this stage of his career, is it a fight he should be taking? Nah, definitely not.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be licensed because it's
Meanwhile, Jake Paul's promoter, Nakisa Badarian, addressed concerns about the physical gap between Paul and Anthony Joshua, stating, "Size-wise, we can get comfortable with it." With Paul reportedly weighing around 210 to 215 pounds compared to Joshua's 252 pounds, Badarian argued that Paul's strength, rapid development, and ongoing improvement in the ring make the matchup feasible. He highlighted Paul's experience at heavyweight, including bouts against opponents like Mike Tyson, as a confidence factor. Despite this, many boxing professionals remain skeptical, consistently questioning the fight's legitimacy, safety, and impact on legacy. While the commercial potential is acknowledged, very few regard the contest as a truly credible sporting challenge.
And two of his losses are against Alexander Usyk. Usyk weighed in at 220 pounds for those fights. Jake is not Usyk, a lot more years of experience needed to get to that level, but Jake walks around between 208 and 210, and he fought Mike Tyson at 228 pounds. So I think size-wise, we can get comfortable with it, and I think experience-wise, Jake is learning very fast and growing, and Joshua is a little long in the tooth. So it could be a very interesting matchup, and we're actively discussing it with Matchroom.
He's got everyone eating out the palm of his hand. He's a very clever man, so...
You really think he's got a chance?
Why wouldn't he have a chance? Look how confident he is. Mate, come on. Like, Anthony would have all the pressure in the world, and if Anthony didn't do him with the first few punches, he'd start doubting himself in his head, because that's what he does. But no, Anthony should win, shouldn't he?
What do you make of Tyson Fury saying that he's going to put $1 million bet on Jake winning by knockout?
Tyson to leg it, lad. He's retired about 50 times. What's he on about, mate? Just tell him to leg it, and I love him. If he walked in here, I'd obviously...
At one point you were good friends.
We were good friends, but obviously if he walked in here, I'd act like I'm not talking about him, but then on the camera I'm talking to him. Is this not what we're on? Is everyone not fake? Or no, we all... What are we on here? Are we all acting like we don't hate each other? Like, come on. Like, what?
You're on absolute smoke today.
Former world champion George Groves has dismissed the notion of Anthony Joshua facing Jake Paul, seeing no sporting value in the bout. He argues Joshua deserves meaningful fights against legitimate contenders, not crossover spectacles. Groves called such a matchup low risk and low legacy, insisting Joshua should either retire or hold out for a mega fight with Tyson Fury, which he believes is the only contest that genuinely matters for preserving and enhancing Joshua's legacy.
We're trying to convince people that he's a legitimate boxer. He's not a legitimate boxer. You've picked someone who was a professional boxer, whose dad was a legend of professional boxing. You might as well...
The upcoming clash between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul encapsulates modern boxing's biggest tension: the struggle between genuine sporting competition and commercial spectacle. For Joshua, the fight offers a chance to earn a huge payday and reclaim global relevance after setbacks in his heavyweight career. For Paul, it represents the riskiest challenge of his boxing journey, an opportunity to prove he can compete with a true elite or, alternatively, reveal the limits of his celebrity-driven resume, testing whether his rise in the sport is more than just hype.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony took a big L with Daniel Dubois, but Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. It's not a joke. You know what I'm trying to say? He took an L, yeah, but Jake Paul, I got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%, this happening, this positioning, this marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face to face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's gonna fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly gonna be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3 because obviously the last 2 were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora.
Do you think Jake Paul has any real chance against Anthony Joshua? Is this matchup a boost for boxing or just a complete circus? Share your thoughts in the comments.